I cast Jim's Magic Missile.
Don't you mean just magic missile?
Any old fool can cast Magic Missile.
Oh, you mean Jim Dark Magic from Acquisitions Inc., don't you?
You know it is.
Yeah, let's talk about the 5 best Force spells for 5e D&D. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Dave, and as usual, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchist Ted.
If you want to magically summon D&D content into your YouTube feed, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Use Bigby's hand, or your own, to click that notification bell so you can attune and get all those videos right into your feed.
So before we jump into this video about Force spells and which ones you're going to want to arm yourself with, we're going to take a moment to thank our sponsors. And this is going to be really important that you're using Force Magic if you're going to a place with a lot of fire, brimstone, and lava, because you're probably going to find demons and devils there, and they're not resistant to force damage usually. If you find your dungeon master using Dungeon Craft Volume 2 Hell and High Water, you're probably going to want to use these force spells. Tell us a little bit about Dungeon Craft.
Dungeon Craft is an amazing product. From the moment I got the first set, they've appeared in just about every game, if not every game that I've run at my table. I think this stuff is amazing. It's great scatter, it's great maps, it's great terrain. The Hell and High Water set has got ships, sea monsters, sea terrain that you can be able to put out there. The hell aspect of that, there's demons, there's fire, there is lava, there is so many fun things that you have to check this out. Do yourself a favor, add Hell and High Water to your table, and your players are going to love it.
Yeah, DMs, fulfill your burning desire to set your players on fire with lava. In the description, there will be a link. Now let's get to it. I'm going to pull up D&D Beyond here so that we can look at our 5 go-to spells. We are going to do these in the same vein that we've done our previous videos in, and it's of the 5 go-to spells. We're not going to be limited by spell level. We're going to be limited to force effects, but it's going to be 5 plus the bonus as usual. We've got attack, buff, and defense.
We've got utility, iconic, and that extra one is our overlooked spell.
So I'm going to kick it off with the attack spell. This is a personal favorite of mine. It's a 5th level spell, Steel Wind Strike. It's an action to cast, range is 30 foot. Components are somatic material. Duration is instantaneous. It's a conjuration spell. Attack save, melee. You flourish the weapon used in casting and then vanish to strike like the wind. Choose up to 5 creatures you can see within range. Make a melee spell attack against each target. On a hit, a target takes 6d10 force damage. You can teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 5 foot of one of those targets you hit or missed. And you need a melee weapon in order to make this happen. You can use this if you are a ranger or a wizard. It's a great spell. Because you're making attack rolls and you're making a bunch of them, there's always a good possibility you get a crit. So 6d10 becomes 12d10. If you hit it with all 5 of those, we're talking about 30d10, potential for a lot of damage. You definitely want to try and use this one if you can get your grubby little paws on some advantage, because it's so good.
Davis used this in a campaign with me as the DM, and it is a ton of damage. And I have seen one of those crits. It's disgusting.
War Wizard fighter combo. So action surge, double Steel Wind Strike. So much fun.
It's happened. He's done it.
Next up, we have Tensor's Transformation, and this is for our buff spell. It's a 6th level spell. An action to cast. Range is self. Components are verbal, somatic, and material. Duration is 10 minutes, and we have to concentrate on it. School is transmutation. You endow yourself with endurance and martial prowess fueled by magic. Until the spell ends, you can't cast spells, and you gain the following benefits. You gain 50 temporary hit points. If any of these remain when the spell ends, they are lost. You have advantage on attack rolls that you make with a simple and martial weapons. When you hit a target with a weapon attack, that target takes an extra 2d12 force damage. You have proficiency with all armor, shields, simple weapons, and martial weapons. You have proficiency in strength and constitution saving throws. You can attack twice instead of once when you take the attack action on your turn. You ignore this benefit if you already have a feature like extra attack that gives you extra attacks. Immediately after the spell ends, you must make a DC 15 Constitution save throw or suffer 1 level of exhaustion. Exhaustion sucks, but this spell is so good. And let me tell you, one of the things that I probably should have did that I never did was combined Steel Wind Strike contingency and this spell together, because that would be a disgusting combination.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as you were reading it to, couple that extra damage from, transformation onto a Steel Wind Strike would be pretty darn nasty. So I'm going to move into our defensive spell. And for that one, I don't think there is anything better when it comes to force than ye old basic shield. First level abjuration spell, verbal somatic. Range or area is self. Duration is 1 round. Attack or save is none. Casting time is the reaction. School is abjuration, as I said. Damage is or effect is warding. An invisible barrier of magical force appears and protects you. Until the start of your next turn, you have a +5 bonus to AC, including against the triggering attack, and you take no damage from magic missile. Plain and simple, a +5 to your AC as a reaction. The fact that it's a first level spell, you get it right away. You can be able to use it throughout your entire career. And a +5 bonus to your AC that stacks with everything is never a bad thing. So to me, there's lots of other higher level spells that could fall into the defensive category. I just don't think they stand up to the Almighty Shield.
Yeah, shield definitely never goes out of style. If I don't know a wizard that, or spellcaster for that matter, that has access to it that doesn't take it. It is great.
So for our iconic spell, since we just mentioned how, shield blocks magic missile, I don't think there's anything as more iconic for a D&D spell that does force than magic missile. I mean, there's even that silly bit of I cast magic missile of the darkness. It's just fun. First level range is 120 feet. Duration is instantaneous. There's no attack or saving throw. It's an action. It's only verbal somatic. It's evocation. And, let's face it, the damage is force. You create 3 glowing darts of magical force. Each dart hits a creature of your choice that you can see within range. A dart deals 1d4 plus 1 force damage to a target. The darts all strike simultaneously, and you can direct them to hit one creature or several. When you cast this spell using a spell slot of second or higher, the spell creates 1 more dart for each spell slot above first. Now I had made the joke about, in the intro about Jim's magic missile. That was a fun little spell in Acquisitions Inc. that actually does require attack rolls, that does more damage than magic missile on average, and does even more if you actually crit with it. It's a fun spell, and that gold coin that I tossed was actually the material component for the spell.
Nice. Yeah, magic missile is a go-to. I mean, even my war wizard fighter character Uthengar has been known to cast a super high level spell slots with magic missile just because it doesn't miss. Maybe the dice are killing me that night, or your dice are hot. You're making all your saving throws. They're immune to everything. I'm rolling poorly, and I'm just like, you know what? Suck a 9th level magic missile.
Yeah, he did it.
Action surge, do it, do it twice. And
well, not another 9th level spell slot.
Yeah, we can do 9th and 8th.
9th and 8th can absolutely happen.
And those magic missiles start to add up after a little while.
They do, especially, if you happen to, roll more 3s and 4s than 1s and 2s. So we're going to move into our utility. And for this one, I'm looking at Lehman's Tiny Hut. 3rd level self with an area of 10 feet sphere. Duration is 8 hours. There's no attack or saving throw. The casting time is a minute. It does have verbal, somatic, and material. It is evocation. And just like it says, the damage or effect is utility. A 10-foot radius immobile dome of force springs into existence around you and above you and remains stationary for the duration. The spell ends if you leave this area. 9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside the dome with you. The spell fails if its area includes a larger creature or more than 9 creatures. Creatures and objects within the dome when you cast the spell can move through it freely. All other creatures and objects are barred from passing through it. Spells and other magical effects can extend to the dome or be cast through it. The atmosphere inside the space is comfortable and dry, regardless of the weather outside. Until the spell ends, you can command the interior to become dimly lit or dark. The dome is opaque from the outside, of any color you choose, but it is transparent from the inside. And all you need is a small crystal bead to be able to cast it.
I know many casters that do not leave home without this spell, and basically it just secures your long rests for 8 hours. You can't be disturbed, short of someone dispelling it or some other effects that might get rid of it. But for the most part, it's a great spell if you do not have to worry about having your long rest interrupted.
Yeah, it's great. You can just, plop it out there. It's a ritual, so if you're an actual wizard, you don't have to worry about actually using the spell slot. You don't have to worry about having it prepared. You can just pull out your book, read it, dome. As long as you've got that minute of being undisturbed, or 10 in case of the 11 if you're actually doing it as a ritual, you can pop it out and secure that 8 hours rest.
Now we move on to our final spell, and that is our Overlooked. We're going to go with a 4th level spell for this one, and this is Odaluk's Resilient Sphere. It's an action to cast, range of 30 foot, verbal, somatic, and material components. It is a duration of 1 minute. It does require concentration. School's Evocation. It is a dex save, and it is a control effect. A sphere of shimmering force encloses a creature or object of large size or smaller within range. An unwilling creature must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is enclosed for the duration. Nothing, not physical objects, energy, or other spell effects can pass through this barrier in or out, though a creature in the sphere can breathe there. The sphere is immune to all damage, and a creature or object inside can't be damaged by attacks or effects originating from outside, nor can a creature inside the sphere damage anything outside of it. The sphere is weightless and just large enough to contain the creature or object inside. An enclosed creature can use its action to push against the sphere's walls and thus roll the sphere at up to half the creature's speed, similarly to a globe that can be picked up and moved by other creatures. A disintegrate spell targeting the globe destroys it without harming anything inside. Wizard, Oath of Redemption, Paladin, and Artificer can all use this spell. I think it has some versatility where you can use it offensively, defensively, or just utility. If, for instance, say you have a companion that is falling, and if your DM allows you an action before they hit the ground, you could use this and save them. I feel like you could use it underwater and get a bubble effect. You can hamster ball all over the place with it. And if maybe one of your allies is in a really bad situation, their turn is over, and now it's the enemy's turn, you could just drop it on them and give them a respite so that they can gather their wits about them. Maybe they have some things they could do to patch themselves up in the meantime, buff themselves, heal themselves, whatever. But in the meantime, Tiamat isn't smashing them or whatever baddie you're going against.
So, a lot of really great spells, a lot of really, interesting and fun things that you can do with the wonderful ability that is Force.
If you enjoyed this video on Force spells, maybe you would like to check out one of our other ones, Getting the Most Out of Your Fine Familiar Spell. You can check that out up over here in this card.
If you're looking to add custom content to your 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game, then you might be aware that Nerdarchy does that on Patreon. Every month we create product for players and DMs alike that drop right into their game.
That's not all. We do weekly live chats for our patrons, and we also do monthly giveaways our patrons are automatically entered in.
So until next time, stay nerdy.